In 1987, American teenagers were scared off the boardwalk by The Lost Boys, the teen horror film that depicted vampires as the exsanguinating scourge of the California beach scene. 20 years later, Hollywood has given us a different take on these night-dwelling arterial enthusiasts in the form of the blockbuster sensation, Twilight.
That's why we don't show ourselves in sunlight. People would know we're different. This is what I am.
It's like diamonds.
On the surface, the portrayal of a kinder, gentler vampire seems to be having a positive impact on today's youth.
He's so hot! My next boyfriend is going to be a vampire!
The image of the pale and devastatingly handsome young actor shimmering in the Washington afternoon has gone a long way towards fostering acceptance for our pale midnight brethren. Some argue that enterprises such as the Twilight series and the soon-to-be-released Vampire Chronicles are rebuilding the bridges of the human-vampire divide. It's a bridge that's been burned time and again by Bram Stoker remakes and Anne Rice sequels, but now creatures on both sides of the mortality divide can see the proverbial dawn breaking on the horizon. However, not everyone is so happy about this cuddly turn of events. Meet Damien Montgomery. An advocate of the traditional vampire customs, Damien subscribes to the insatiable bloodlust and the monstrous, manipulative, almost godlike mystique of the vampire. He's also a part-time night clerk at the local Savvy Mart.
Look, I just think it's really unfair, you know? Vampires are graceful, powerful, brutal creatures, and I personally resent the vampires being portrayed in the media today are these golden-haired little pixies mincing around in the mountains and drinking the blood of rats. Rats? How insulting is that? It's clear that the author did not understand the first thing about being a vampire. The need for human blood cannot be satiated by any substitutes. We cannot abstain. We need human blood. That's the truth, and there's no amount of glitter or rainbows that's going to change the fact that we are the predators and you humans are the prey.
But you're not an actual vampire, are you?
So what?
Well, if you're not a vampire, that means you're human, so you would be prey too.
I am an assimilated vampire. Okay, no, I am not a vampire by blood, pardon the expression, but I have adopted all practices and idiosyncrasies of vampire culture. I live as they live, I think as they think, and I eat as they eat.
So, you kill people and drink their blood?
Well, no, not exactly.
Then what, exactly?
Neck Munchers 4000.
The video game?
It's an MMO, much like World of Warcraft, and my participation is highly ceremonial.
Because you can't drink blood.
Not because I can't or I don't want to. It's just that I don't feel like I would thrive in jail, creatively speaking.
Of course. Now, other than the minor issue of not drinking human blood, you've taken on all other aspects of the vampire lifestyle?
Yes, every single traditional aspect.
Interesting.
Ow! What was that?
It's garlic. Vampires are allergic to garlic.
I've never heard of that. What are you doing? I was gonna eat that.
Vampires are usually obsessive compulsive. Shouldn't you feel compelled to count all of these fruity pebbles? Oh, come on. This is traditional vampire mythology. What sources are you working from? These sources, as it turns out. Damien insists that the Underworld Enterprise encapsulates the most favorable vampirical image ever set on film.
It's exactly how it should be. Sexy vampires in catsuits running around, sucking people dry, with an awesome soundtrack in the background. It's a horror movie. Because that's what vampires should be. Horrifying. Humans should be running from us.
You mean them?
Yes, them.
A powerful sentiment. However, Damien's profound respect for the leather and guns sect of vampire mythology has garnered him very little respect in the real world. Instead, scenes of brutal embarrassment seem to plague him everywhere he goes. It's a shocking event to watch. But if we take one step further, an even more shocking event remains to be seen. Far from the sparkle and swagger of Hollywood, there's another group of American vampires that's been all but overlooked. They're the blue-collar vampires, honest, hard-working oral phlebotomists just trying to make it in this crazy, mixed-up, neck-filled world. There are people like Clyde Patton, and unlike the suave, arrogant vampires of the silver screen, life is not so easy for those in his situation.
You know, I can't stay in one place more than 2 or 3 months on account of all the bodies turning up. And, you know, I haven't seen a doctor or a dentist in about 300 years because of my unique physiology.
Clyde works as a handyman, making midnight emergency house calls to clear blocked toilets for as little as $20 per call. And as he tells it, he's one of the lucky ones.
You know, if I hadn't learned how to clear gutters, sweep, fix things around the house, and the great indoor plumbing craze of 1896, I'd be in a heap of trouble. It's hard to keep a job. You know, I'm moving around every couple months. You know, and people are so suspicious these days because once a couple bodies start piling up, they get suspicious. And they start pointing their finger at you saying, oh, the vampire did it, the vampire did it. It's just not right. I mean, it's a real problem because I gotta kill to eat, but then I go to jail. But if I go to jail, then I don't get to eat. It's a real predicament.
The denial of Clyde's tragic tale is just one more way in which Hollywood misrepresents the plight and culture of the average noctohemo American. But there might be an even greater deception at work when you consider that the basis of every one of these films might in fact be a total lie. Vampires and humans falling in love. Is it possible? Does it even happen? I had to ask, and luckily, Damien had the answer.
Well, how could a vampire love a human? Humans are sustenance, not objects of infatuation. I couldn't love a human any more than you could love, I don't know, an Egg McMuffin.
Truly thought-provoking. On the one hand, such an affair is undeniably ludicrous. But, on the other hand, Egg McMuffins are delicious. I'm Annabella Helmut, and this has been a Not Exactly News special report.
Whenever you're ready.
Some argue that enterprises such as The Vampire Diaries or the soon-to-be-released Twilight... backwards. Some argue that recent releases such as the Twilight series and The Vampire Diaries are rebuilding the bridge between the humans and vampires. Where do you want to go? Have you been filming this whole time? Okay.
Makeup.
Going in the trailer.
By sticking it in your mouth.
And getting it wet so that it doesn't...
Do you want me to spray you in the face? Mentally. I'm gone. Lean into her like you want her.
I haven't been to see the doctor or the dentist in about 300 years. Fuck me.